day for the defense and for the prosecution. So I haven't really had time to assess, what I may want to do with it. I'm just alerting the court that I may be recalling her as a witness. She is uncooperative with us, so I would, we weren't able to serve her on a subpoena. I just want to know whether the court would order her back since she engaged in this particular type of conduct.
Well, okay, well, she was excused. Mr. Owens, have you seen this clip of her creating a GoFundMe page of some sort?
I have not. I did watch a portion of the interview that was aired, and there was no reference to a GoFundMe account that I watched, and it looked as though it was the interview in its entirety, and she was just being asked her impressions about testifying and cross-examination and how that felt and her relationship with her mother. There was no reference to any GoFundMe page from the interview that I watched.
All right. Well, if she is trying to promote a GoFundMe page for her mother, it sounds like it's fair game to impeach her for her motives. So she has been excused. If you want to subpoena her and bring her in, then we can. Put her back up on the stand. So
I believe we had her phone. I was provided her phone number, but not her address.
All right, I'll order the people to give the defense her address and contact information.
Both phone number and address were provided to counsel and their investigator, Mr. Sesma.
Okay.
And Your Honor, there was a banner that was underneath the interview that what I saw was the GoFundMe page. So.
Okay. All right, well, we can address that. I would suggest you get her served and get her back in here. And then, what else? Is there anything else we need to put on a record? No? All right.
Please so.
Let's bring in the jury. All right, we are back on the record. The record reflects the presence of all jurors. Good morning. And again, all counsel are present and the defendant is present. Sorry for the slightly late start. We had a couple things to put on the record as well. Jane Doe number 5 has made her way back into the courtroom. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Thank you for coming back this morning. The attorneys have some follow-up questions for you. I'll ask if you could scoot up a little bit. And again, if you need to take a break at any time, you just let me know, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And we're going to start this morning now with Mr. Carlos, and he has some questions for you. Okay? All right, Mr. Carlos, cross-examination.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Doe. How are you?
Good morning.
So this is not the first time you've testified in this court?
No, it's the second time.
Second time, okay. And the first time you relayed the details of what you saw. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So you established on direct examination that you have a kind of a normal habit, right?
Yes.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you go work out.
Yes.
And apparently it's doing very well for you, I should say. You are healthy, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you and your husband do the same thing, right? I mean,
yes.
You go together, and it's just part of your life.
You're right.
And so people, are there locals there that know you? I mean, the people in the health club?
What do you mean?
I mean, if you're a regular at the same time, the same, days, do people know you in general?
Of course, people in the gym who also does the same routine.
Okay. So you also said on direct yesterday that you, during the reason that you go during those times is because it is not as busy?
That's correct.
Right. And so, once again, we're talking between 12 and 3:30-ish?
Yes.
Do you stay longer sometimes?
12:30 to, 3, 3:30, 4 o'clock. It depends.
Yeah. So what's the latest you might stay there, you think?
Maybe 4:30, 4:30.
Okay. And that would be, so you told us before that your husband does something different than you when you go to the club, right?
Of course, he doesn't use our machines. He used other machines.
Okay. And so he does his own workout, you do your own workout, essentially?
Yes.
Do you see each other during that period of time that you're using the machines or not?
You are in the same floor, so you see sometimes him. Yes, you do.
Okay. The machines that you talked about yesterday, those machines are on the second floor?
Yes.
All right. And has the health club changed since the incident, or are the machines in the same place?
Those machines had been set there since they moved from a room which was for ladies preferred. And since then, when the machines went there, they had never been changed. They remained the same since the day, maybe a year ago, that the machines were set there.
Okay, and let me ask you this. Yesterday, you said that you remembered now that prior to this incident on the second floor, right, you had seen something on the TV about Mr. Winslow being arrested.
Yes,
Okay, so you had seen that. You remember that.
yes.
I'm going to approach you with some pictures. I'm
Sure.
going to ask you if you recognize them. I'm sorry, I don't have permission to approach you.
Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
Showing you what's, first just tell me if you recognize them. It's either 163.
Yes,
What are they?
that's the machines upstairs.
Okay.
Is there any objection to publishing these? Have you seen these?
Yeah, I have, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No.
You can put them on the screen if you want as well, showing her.
Right. You see
Okay,
one?
this, I'm sorry, is which one, Mr.
This
Carlos?
is 163.
Thank you.
You have the TV behind you too. Is that any easier to see?
Yeah, if I look and I answer, you're not going to be able to hear what I'm saying, right?
Oh, you can turn it back here. I'll use this pointer, okay? And what you're seeing there are the actual exercise machines?
Yes,
Okay. The window there, what does the window look out to?
the parking lot.
Okay. Are these machines, are they similar machines that you were using that day at Crunch Business?
Yeah, those machines, they were in our room for ladies preferred.
Okay. These are the ones you've been talking about?
Yes,
All right. And there's like a leg extension one right in front of you?
yes.
Okay. Is that one of the machines that you used?
All those machines I use.
Okay. Right in a row, part of your circuit?
Yes,
Okay. Can I get 164? Okay, 164. Showing you what's marked as 164. Do you recognize that?
yes, I do.
Okay, now, you can see the window, correct? That's out of the parking lot?
Yes, you can see the cars there, right?
Right. That's the parking lot to the Crunch Fitness?
Of course.
And some of the machines face out to the parking lot?
Yes, some of those machines.
So you'd be working out, looking out, right?
Yes,
And off to the right of that is a mirror, correct?
yes,
And the mirrors are just, I mean, the health clubs have mirrors for people to look at themselves, work out, things like that, right?
I don't think people that work out, they look themselves.
I mean, they have mirrors there for,
Yeah, but the mirrors are there. You don't go to a machine to walk, to look yourself.
okay, all right. You don't go to look at yourself, but.
No,
it's-
and I people, they work out, they don't do that.
All right, at least that you've seen. And it's your experience that people don't use the mirrors in the health club to look at themselves, right?
Okay,
I'm asking you.
I don't know.
Okay. Can I get 165? This is another picture of the health club. I mean, of the machines facing out to the parking lot to the Crunch Fitness.
Yes,
Right. Is that 165? Yeah, can I get 165?
That might not be 165.
I'm not, I don't think I got one. That picture, okay.
Right, that's 165.
It's 165. All right, do you see that picture?
yes,
Okay, this is 165?
This is 165.
Okay, thank you.
Do you recognize it?
yes.
Okay, what is it? What does it show?
Show machines.
Okay, but you can see through the wires there, the little railing. What's dead below?
That's the front of the gym.
Okay, so when you walk in, that's where those people are standing there. That's where that you would check in.
Yeah, this is where we check in.
And when you testified yesterday about going to the front desk and asking to speak to the manager, is that where you went?
Yes,
Okay. And there are a number of people that are working there, right?
Yes,
And is it normal to have more than one person down there at the lobby entrance?
yes,
For the Crunch Fitness employees?
I think so.
Okay. And to get down to the lobby from the second floor, how do you get down there?
Around here, this is where the stairs goes.
Okay,
Okay,
indicating to the left of Exhibit 165.
so to the left of 165, right?
Yes,
And so is it one flight of stairs, or does it go down, a landing, and then down again?
this is one flat, is a landing, and then there's another stairs going to the first floor.
And correct me if I'm wrong, does that empty then into the main area, the lobby area?
Yes,
Okay. So, on this particular day, you said that you and, we can take that down for right now, that you and you've identified Mr. Winslow, were the only people on the second floor.
in that area, not in the second floor. In
Okay,
that area of the second floor.
okay. How big look at this courtroom, right? Is this courtroom bigger than that area or smaller than that area?
That area
Yeah, that you're
is
talking about.
smaller than this,
So,
a lot smaller than this room.
okay, so the area that you're talking about is smaller than this room.
Yes,
Okay, and we don't have any, I know we have measurements from point to point, but not of the actual,
Well, the length of the courtroom is 59 feet, and the width is 36 feet 6 inches.
okay, so when you say that the room that you were in had just you and Mr. Winslow in, what size room was that?
that was not a room. It's a part of the second floor. It's an area
Okay,
of where the machines that you just showed me, they are.
okay, that's what I'm getting at. So essentially, this is not another closed room, right? In other words, there's not a separate room for these machines?
No,
Okay, so
it's
it's
an
a
open area.
big open area, correct?
Yes,
And you said that big open area is smaller than this courtroom.
yes.
Is it from like where you are to where I'm at this rail?
Probably
Okay, that's not.
from one side to the other side in that area.
Okay, can I get a measurement there?
Yes. From the witness stand to the front rail, it's 25 feet.
Thank you. And so wide, if you use the back wall over there, is it about where I'm standing wide, or is it further out this way?
Could you come again?
Well, one length is from you to the wall,
Yeah.
correct? I'm just scoring out the room. What's the other length?
It's a lot less.
A lot less, so tell me when to stop.
Probably there.
Okay.
To there.
So from where I'm standing, Mr. Owens, want to give me you want to agree on that distance?
Wait, from where? From where you are to the wall? I don't have that measurement. Let's see. It's gonna
That's it.
be,
I agree, it's 15 feet. Yeah.
I think I say about 15 feet. Ron.
yeah, 15 feet. All right, we'll go with 15 feet.
Okay, so from where I'm standing to the wall to where you are, this is pretty much the size of the room where the exercise
There's no room.
the open area
Yes,
where the exercise machines are at, right?
yes,
And besides this room that this area that we're talking about, it's open to a stairwell downstairs, right?
it goes around. It comes outside. It's not in that area. It comes a little bit to your left of that area, and then goes the steps down.
Okay, but there's an open stairway that accesses this area that you're working at.
Yes.
All right? And you said that there were other people in this room also, besides Mr. Winslow?
I was alone in that area.
Okay.
There was nobody else, me, and then when he came upstairs.
Okay, so there's nobody else walking around in this?
Nobody.
All right. But it wasn't closed off. In other words, people could come in there to work out.
Yes,
And this was about what time?
that was about 2 to 30.
2:30 in the afternoon. So when you saw Mr. Winslow, he was sitting on a machine at first, right?
Yes.
Now, you said that he was looking at you, right?
From time to time, yeah.
Okay. You were doing a circuit,
Exactly.
right? So
I start from as a machine right around the stairs, and that goes all around, like you saw there in the picture.
right?
It goes the one in front that face the front of the gym, and goes around, and then some machines face the parking lot. Some of them, some are that you facing the other side,
Right. Like we saw in the pictures,
yes.
right? So you have a set that you do like 3 sets on the machines?
Yes, they normally do that,
And then-
and most people do that.
Okay. So Mr. Winslow was seated on one machine, which is the leg extension.
Yes,
Okay, you have to wait for me to finish. Yeah. So it's a machine where you can move your legs in and out, right?
yes.
Do you have a name for that? Do you know what it's called?
No, I don't have names for the machines.
Okay,
I
but-
just use them.
But you sit in there and you move your knees in and out, right? It moves the
yes.
machine. Okay. And he's sitting there. He hasn't come over to you at this point, right?
No,
He hasn't talked to you at this point, right?
no,
He didn't move over on any of the machines towards you.
no, he did not.
And so you did your exercise on one machine, and then you moved to the next machine, right?
That's
And
correct.
then you moved to the next machine,
Yes,
and then the next machine, all the way till you got right next to Mr. Winslow.
exactly.
Okay. So at no time did he move towards you.
No,
So he just sat there. So from that position where you're sitting next to him, that's where you described yesterday, you said he was stroking, right?
I was using the machine right next to him, very close to him, and we were facing. His machine was that he was using, it faced the parking lot. The machine where I was sitting, it faced the floor,
Right.
the open space.
My question was yesterday, you said that he was touching
Yes,
himself.
when I sat there and we facing, I happened to notice that while he has his legs open, he was touching.
Okay. So he put his hand like in the crotch area. Yes?
Yes,
And he was wearing sweats, right?
yes,
So he wasn't wearing like tight shorts or anything.
no,
Okay, so you saw him put his hand at or near his crotch, right?
right.
You didn't see him grab his penis and try to masturbate?
No, I didn't see that, but I saw him doing his strokes and touching and everything.
Right.
I didn't have to see that
I mean,
going inside and doing things.
well, he never put his hand inside his sweats,
No.
right? He never put his hands inside his sweats, correct?
No,
And you didn't, it was one hand, and you said that he had rubbed it a couple times, correct?
Right.
Mistakes the evidence.
Overruled, the answer will stand.
Right?
yes,
And in your previous testimony also, you just said it wasn't constant, it was just every once in a while he would touch it.
yeah,
Okay. Then you asked him, if you're using that machine, can you get off? If you're not using the machine, something like that, right?
yes,
And he complied with your request.
yes,
So you had no issues with him. Well, I mean, you weren't afraid of him at that point because you're telling him to get off. You're telling him to get off the machine, right?
Well, if you're sitting next to somebody who's doing that, you are afraid.
Hey, but you told him. to
You
sit-
don't feel good.
Yeah, but you just told him to get off the machine, and he did.
Yeah, because I felt that he doesn't belong there, and I wanted for him to leave the area.
And he did get up out of the seat, right?
Yeah, he did.
He didn't say anything to you other than, okay, you get off.
No, he just get up.
Okay, and then you said yesterday that that's when he was in front of you. There's a mirror there too, isn't there?
You keep talking the mirrors. The mirrors are there. Yes.
Okay. So he's standing in front of you, and that's when he was doing the stretches.
But that was long before I moved to another machine, and that I was using. All the machines I did after when he moved out from the machine, it were facing the parking lot, so I don't see him in back of me.
Okay. But it's not-
until I got a machine where I was sitting straight and facing the open space and the second floor,
Okay.
not facing the parking lot.
And at this point, you hadn't noticed anybody else inside of the health club? Inside of that floor?
Nobody was there.
Okay, you didn't notice anybody on that floor?
No.
All right. And that's when you saw him do this movement that you're talking about?
Yeah, he came right in front of the machine that I was using, right on my face.
Okay. And standing in front of you where the machine was at?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. And you said that he had an erection?
Yes.
Okay. And you've never seen this man before, right?
I saw him in the news when he was arrested.
Okay. So he's standing in front of you, and this erection that he has, does he pull it out of his pants?
No,
Does he grab it with his hands?
no,
Does he masturbate at all?
no. But he pointed to me and he said, "Do you see this?"
Okay, I understand. So, but he didn't show you anything, did he? You didn't see any skin. You didn't see a penis.
No.
That's the point I'm making, right? So, you didn't say anything about it then, correct?
I guess when you,
Ma'am,
Petrified.
and this is a question. You didn't say anything about it then.
Objection,
Is that
Chief.
correct?
Objection to the interruption of the response. It was
No,
responsive.
it's non-responsive.
It was non-responsive. She said petrified, but there was no question pending. Actually, there was a question pending, but you start another question before she answers. So the answer will stand. You can ask your next question.
Is this true or false? Did you tell your husband after that incident about the man? True or false?
I told my husband going home
Okay, that day.
that day.
Okay, good. Did you tell him that that's the same man from the TV?
No, I did not. I hope I knew he was the man from the TV. If I knew he was from the TV, that I saw him,
Okay.
I could have just called the police myself. I didn't have to go to the manager. I had to call the police right that moment.
All right.
If I knew he was the same guy,
So
I
you
didn't
tell-
know.
You tell your husband that this guy did some strange things to you, right?
Yes,
All right? And he said, okay, you guys talked about it, and then nothing happened for another 2 weeks.
he kept insisting to me that I should report it to the manager.
But I'm saying between the time the first event happened and the second event happened, it was approximately 2 weeks.
Probably less, maybe a week or something. I have no idea of the time that passed until the February 22nd.
But you went to the health club on numerous occasions and nothing happened, right?
Yes,
All right, until, this period of time, until the Jacuzzi incident, right?
yes.
Okay. Now, in the Jacuzzi, I just want to be clear about this. You never saw an exposed penis.
I try not to.
Okay, the question is, did you see an exposed penis?
No,
Right? Did you see the towel come off of Mr. Winslow?
no,
Did you see the flap of the towel open and expose any part of Mr. Winslow's genitals? Yes or no?
I did not.
You said that you were in the Jacuzzi. By the way, how big is the Jacuzzi?
It's not too big. It holds only 8
8 people.
people.
Okay. I want to use something in front of you. Is it as far as from where you're sitting? If you're sitting on the wall, is it as far
Yeah,
as
from there, probably to a little bit. Move a little bit, please, more. More. From there to that bench, to that wood, up to where I was.
Where you are? It's square. Right?
Yes, this is
Okay,
square.
so we're talking about 7 feet. Is it a square or a circle?
It's a square.
Okay, so all sides are equal length, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so is the length from Mr. Carlos to the edge of that rail right there?
right.
Okay, that's 7 feet?
Sorry.
Okay,
So,
approximately
7
7 feet.
And you said it holds 6 to 8 people?
Yes, that was supposed to be.
Okay, when you went into the spa, you were there by yourself.
I was all alone.
Okay,
And nobody in the big pool.
okay. And the big pool is right next to the spa, correct?
Right,
I mean, it's just within feet of it.
yes,
And it's not people can access that pool at any time, isn't that correct?
that's correct.
And people can access the spa at any time. is
That's
that
correct.
It's a co-ed spa.
Yes.
So how long were you in the jacuzzi before you saw Mr. Winslow by the water fountain?
I was probably maybe 5 minutes or so.
Okay. When you're in the jacuzzi, how long do you usually spend?
15 minutes.
Okay. So you're already in there for about 5 minutes before you see Mr. Winslow by the water fountain.
Yeah.
Okay. And so nobody else is in there with you, right?
Nobody.
And nobody's in the pool.
Nobody.
And this is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, about, give or take.
Yes.
Right.
More or less.
So then the Mr. Winslow, you said, goes into the men's locker room, correct?
Right.
And does some changing in there.
I guess so.
I mean, that's for the men's locker room, and you were inside of
Right.
there. Okay. So he comes out. He comes out and he says the towel wrapped around his waist, and he's carrying a bag, right?
Yeah. His
And-
towel around his waist, another towel on his ankle, and he's carrying the same bag that he had it upstairs on the second floor, and something black holding in the other hand.
Okay. The bag was like a workout bag, right? A gym bag,
Probably. I didn't check that.
right? And he came to the jacuzzi while you were there, right? Sitting,
Yes.
and still nobody's there that you were.
Nobody.
And so from the time that you entered into the jacuzzi to the time that Mr. Winslow came, what, about 8 or 9, 10 minutes had passed by?
I didn't check the time.
Can you guesstimate?
I don't know.
All right. So Mr. Winslow, as your testimony, sits down into the jacuzzi, sits on the wall close to you, right?
He just walked right straight where I was, and he sat next to me.
Okay. He puts his bag down, and then he also has this set of shorts that are in his hand, right?
Yes.
Okay. You called them a bathing suit. You called it a bathing suit.
Yes.
Okay. My question to you is, did you touch the bathing suit?
Did I touch the bathing
Yeah.
suit? I was in the jacuzzi.
That's a no, right?
No.
Okay. You didn't pick the bathing suit up and hold it and say this is a bathing suit
No.
versus a pair of shorts, right?
No.
Okay. So what you saw was a pair of shorts. You don't know whether they're bathing or whether they're just basically shorts.
What I saw was a bathing suit.
Okay. That's what I'm asking you. Did you examine them? Did you look at it? How do you know it's a bathing suit?
What I know the difference, what is a short and a bathing suit.
But you would agree with me that people in the health club use workout wear which has the same material as a bathing suit might have.
Yeah, some people
Okay,
do that.
right. And is it your test? You said that you didn't want to look at Mr. Winslow because he had a towel around his waist, right?
I didn't want to look at him when he proceed to come down the stairs.
Okay, so that's what I'm getting at. So he's got the towel wrapped around his waist. Yesterday you said it was just above his knees,
Very short.
but above his knees, right? And I'm putting about what, 3 inches above my knee? Is that right?
Higher.
Higher, 4 inches?
Yes.
Okay. But so about 4 inches above his knee, he's walking toward you, and because of what happened, what you say happened a couple weeks ago, you don't want to look at him, right?
I looked to him since he left to the door, afraid of what he's going to do when I saw him wearing just a small towel around his waist.
Right, but the
I
point is,
didn't stop looking at him. The moment that I didn't look at him as we start going down the steps, coming into the jacuzzi.
okay, so on the time that you were looking at him, right, when you were laser-eyed on this guy looking at him, he had a towel on, right?
Yes?
Nothing was exposed, correct?
No.
Okay?
Wait,
And then,
hang on, was anything exposed?
No.
Okay.
right? And then when he got to the edge of the jacuzzi, that's when you stopped looking at him.
When he start coming down the steps, coming in the jacuzzi.
Right. That's when you stopped looking at him.
I put my eyes down. I didn't want to see. I knew what I'm gonna see if I looked at.
I understand. The question is, you stopped looking at him as he made his way down the stairs,
Right.
okay? You didn't see him actually enter the water, right?
Well, when he started walking, I saw that he's coming to me.
I know, he's coming down the stairs and you just don't look. Isn't that what you just said?
Yes.
Okay, so he got in the water, you didn't see him get in the water, right?
I didn't see him when he coming down the stairs.
Okay. You said yesterday, you said it on a number of occasions, you said it in your previous testimony, you said it yesterday too, you said you just didn't want to look, right?
I didn't want to look. I didn't want to look
Okay.
while he was going down.
Okay, so you also testified yesterday that the jacuzzi has like a lot of bubbles and sort of a chemical foam on top, right?
Right.
And that's kind of a normal thing for that jacuzzi?
Sometimes it's clear, the water. Sometimes we have the foam.
But today the foam was there.
The foam, we had a foam there.
And then plus the bubbles, the jets make the foam kind of bubble up, right?
Sure, the water is spinning very strongly because we have strong jets in the jacuzzi.
Right, and what you said yesterday was that because of that, even if you put your eyes against the water, you wouldn't be able to see down there.
It's not because of that. It's because that's what happens when you are in the jacuzzi.
Okay.
Because the jacuzzi is working, it's always the water is spinning.
Okay, so I guess the answer is, I mean, the question is, if the jacuzzi's working, you can't see down in the water.
No, you can't.
Okay. So you stop looking at Mr. Winslow as he was making his way into the jacuzzi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes,
And the jacuzzi is spinning, so you can't see what's below, correct? It's fair for me to say?
Correct.
Right. Yesterday you described, his hand movement. You remember that?
right?
Okay. You said that the way you described it is his hand was below the water, and then you moved your shoulder,
It's
your right shoulder, up and down. Remember that?
right.
Okay. But you couldn't see underneath the water.
No,
You didn't know what he was doing with his hand.
no,
You didn't know whether he was rubbing a leg or anything like that. You don't know, because you couldn't see.
yes.
Okay. Yesterday, on a question from the prosecution, he said that he grabbed you by the arm.
After I saw the movement with his hand and with his arm, yeah, he grabbed my arm.
Okay, so you recall testifying here before, right?
Yes,
And you said that it wasn't a grab, that was just a touch. Do you remember that?
it was like this.
Right?
Is that the
indicating-
rough or is that touch?
Okay, for the record, the witness is grabbing her left arm just above the elbow with her right hand and putting her fingers and her thumb around her entire arm in a grabbing type motion. All right, next question.
Do you recall testifying that he touched my arm with his arm?
No,
You don't recall testifying that?
no. He used his hand to touch my or grab my arm.
Do you recall, and I'm referring to page 35 of the transcript, lines 7 to 8? So the question, it says, I moved a couple minutes later, maybe 1 minute later, when his foot touched my left leg. The question was he still holding onto your arm? The answer was no, he just touched me.
He was just like this. You know, that was just,
Right.
it was not grabbing me and holding my arm.
Okay.
It was just like that.
Okay, again, she's making the same motion the court previously described.
So that's the point. I mean, he didn't grab and hold on to you.
He didn't hold down.
Okay.
He just,
Touched.
it's that touch or it's grab.
I'm asking.
Whatever you want to say.
You
Okay,
referred-
again, the witness is making the same motion, grabbing her left arm above the elbow with her right hand.
You were asked on 4 different occasions about the grab versus the touch during your previous testimony, and you said it was a touch, not a grab.
Wait, is that a
That's a
question?
question. Do you
Is
remember
that a
that?
question?
Do you remember that?
That's what he did. If I say that touch, probably I used the incorrect word, but this is what he did.
Again, making the same motion.
My question, I asked you during during your testimony, did he grab you or did he just touch you? And your answer was no, he just touched me. You remember that?
Your Honor, I've asked for a reference to the transcript.
35, page 70.
All right, thank you.
Objection misstates the evidence.
Was he still holding onto your arm? You said no.
No, he didn't hold
Just a
that.
moment, there's an objection, overruled, you can cover it on redirect, all right? Next question.
Actually, I'm sorry, the wrong reference was page 35, lines 24 to 26. The question is, when he grabbed your arm and the elbow, did he try to pull you toward him or did he just touch you? And you said, just touched me, right?
How do you call this?
He just touched you,
So this is touch.
okay? And it was just for a very, very brief second, right?
Yeah, just this.
Just made contact and that's it,
This is all he needs to know.
okay? But I'm saying that he just made contact and let go. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And then at some point also, you felt the contact of your foot, right?
Immediately.
Okay, and that was inside, underneath the water.
Yes.
You made contact and said, that was it. Just, he didn't rub his foot against you, just made it, his foot made
With
contact
his
with your foot.
foot, he touched my leg.
Okay. And you said on direct that, or in your previous testimony, that you were kind of in a daze in there because of what was happening, you were a little afraid?
I was frozen of fear.
Okay. So much so that you didn't notice that there was another man in the jacuzzi, right?
So much so that I didn't see. I probably saw somebody that came in, but I do not recall that happened.
Okay. So you come out of this sort of daze that you're in, and you notice there's somebody else in the jacuzzi.
That's somebody else that's getting up and leaving at that moment.
Okay, so he was already in the jacuzzi.
No, when I was alone, no, when this guy came in the jacuzzi.
Well, you said that you noticed that you came out of your daze with Mr. Winslow was still inside the jacuzzi with you.
Yes, he was.
And then you noticed that there was another man in the jacuzzi.
That was getting up and trying to leave and leaving the jacuzzi.
Right, so that means he was already in the jacuzzi when this
No,
was
when
happening.
I was alone. No, when he came in the jacuzzi.
Right, but while Mr. Winslow was in the jacuzzi with you, there was another man in the jacuzzi, yes?
It was there.
Okay, and so we're clear, so from this 7-foot area, so let's say that you were you, okay? How far was this other individual from you?
I was sitting against the, like, maybe to where the glasses, this,
This?
yes.
From you to the glass?
Yes.
About 3
a
feet.
little bit, yes,
Okay, so while this was happening, there was another man about 3 feet from you.
yes.
Objection vague is the timing. while this-
Sustained.
Okay.
The answer will be stricken.
While
Jury
you,
will disregard it. You can be more specific, Mr. Carlos.
okay. When you noticed this man, you said you saw him getting out of the jacuzzi,
Yes,
okay? But when you noticed him, Mr. Winslow was still in the jacuzzi with you, correct?
yes,
Okay, so that individual had to have been in the jacuzzi for at least some time before leaving, correct?
few minutes, I imagine.
Okay. And it's fair for me to say that this whole interaction with Mr. Winslow in the jacuzzi was less than a couple minutes. You agree?
Would you come again?
Well, the time that you spent, the time in the jacuzzi for Mr. Winslow to be in there and make contact, touch your arm, and make contact with your foot, and then do this movement with your shoulder, that was all within a couple minutes, wasn't it?
I don't know how many minutes, but for me, that was eternity.
Okay, but so you don't know how long. Could have been a minute, could have been 2 minutes. You don't know.
No,
Okay.
it was a long time.
like, was it a half hour?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's a matter of minutes, correct?
Maybe.
All right. You said then also that he moved, at some point, he just moved away from you and went to the other side, because when that guy left, Mr. Winslow moved over to use the jet spy.
Yeah. He moved to where the guy was sitting and he left.
Okay, and he went over to where there's jets over there, right?
Yes.
And so he put himself up against the jets and he says, this feels good.
He said, that feels good. I don't know if he meant the jets or something else.
Okay, and again, the witness is rubbing her hands together, both hands flat, palms together, and moving her hands back and forth. All right, next question.
And that's when, so Mr. Winslow then left, right? You were still in the jacuzzi when Mr. Winslow left.
No, he didn't leave until I left first.
Okay, you left.
I left when this happened. When he moved and he said that it feels good, then it happened that I saw my husband. It happened, my husband was coming through the men's locker room and going to the big pool.
Okay.
So I was able to get up and leave the jacuzzi, and I went to talk to him.
Okay. And then you told him about what Mr.
And I
Winslow
told
did?
him, you asked me that you want to see the guy. That is the guy who did that to me on the second floor.
Okay. Did your husband tell you that that's the guy from the TV, he's sick, he's a pervert or something like that?
He never mentioned, he never knew who the guy was. He didn't remember.
Okay.
I hope he did.
All right. But you don't recall him saying that to you?
No, he never did.
All right. So then you just went down to at that point, you decided that you were going to go report it, but said that the manager wasn't there, so you had to wait until the next day,
Yeah,
right? And then
to
you
Monday the 25th, I believe.
okay, and then you made the report, which is similar to what you testified here today.
Right.
Okay. So, just so we're clear here, on the second floor in the first incident, you never saw an exposed penis, correct?
No,
Oh, by the way, you know, on that,
Just a moment, that we're unclear on that answer now. Did you see an exposed penis on the first incident on the second floor, yes or no?
no,
All right, next question.
and you also recall from your previous testimony, you said that Mr. Winslow walked down the stairs with an erection. Do you remember that?
I'm sure he did. I just happened to see him having that in front of my face. So when he grabbed his bag and left, he did.
Yeah,
So maybe he used the bag to cover up.
Okay. But as far as you're concerned, here's a man, this man has an erection in front of you in his sweats, and he walks through the stairs, which are just a couple feet away, and then down to the main lobby.
Yeah, but he has a bag. You know, he can use the bag and just put in front of him.
But you didn't see that, did you?
I was on the machine. I wasn't going to follow him and see what he's doing.
Right. The point is you didn't see him walk down the stairs.
I saw him walking down and taking the stairs down.
Okay. You didn't see him holding the bag in front of him, did you?
I imagine he did, but you
I'm
just,
asking
as
you
you
whether
mentioned.
I'm asking you whether you saw him holding the bag in front of his erect penis.
No,
Okay. But you certainly remember him walking down the stairs with an erect penis
yes,
to the lobby, the main lobby.
yes,
Okay. Second incident, so that we're clear, you never saw an exposed penis.
no,
You never saw him touch his penis inside the jacuzzi because you couldn't see.
no.
Uh,
I'm sure he was doing when he was masturbating.
I'm sure that that's what you believed he was doing, but you didn't see it, did you?
Objection argumentative.
Overruled, you can answer.
You could not see in that kind of water. But I knew he was doing.
Okay. I understand you know he was doing it, but you didn't see anything, correct?
No,
And you couldn't see anything even if you tried to see something.
exactly.
And the man who was in the jacuzzi with you, you didn't hear him at any time say anything to Mr. Winslow, correct?
No,
Right? You didn't hear him say, hey, you, stop masturbating. You didn't hear that, did you?
no.
You didn't hear him say, hey, you, put some clothes on. You didn't hear him say that, did you?
He was sitting in the water. The man didn't know that he had a towel around his waist.
Okay. You don't know what the man knew or didn't know. Isn't that true? You really don't.
a man is sitting there enjoying the jet. It's not going to look another man what he's doing.
Okay, ma'am, the question to you is, you didn't know what this man knew or didn't know, isn't that true?
No.
Okay. And as far as, you didn't hear anything from that man toward Mr. Winslow about any of his conduct inside of the jacuzzi?
Objection
No.
asked and answered.
Overruled, the answer will stand.
That doesn't mean that
Objection.
I didn't see.
No motion pending. There's no question pending.
All right, there was no
We'll strike.
question pending. The witness's statement will be stricken. The jury will disregard the last statement. Next question.
Nothing further from this witness, Your Honor.
All right, redirect.
Did you see when the other man who was in the jacuzzi entered into the jacuzzi?
I probably saw the man coming in, but I don't recall. And the reason why, because I was frozen to fear. I didn't know what happened, and I was thinking that I should have left the jacuzzi and go out of that area, and I could move. But the only thing that kept me there is because I knew my husband is going to come any minute. And everything what happened to me left me so traumatized that I had to use
Narrative.
I had to use.
Just a moment. Sustained, the answer will stand, but you can ask another question.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Ms. Doe, I know that this incident upset you quite a bit, and I know that it's difficult to have questions being asked of you about what you remember, especially with such specific details. So just take a moment, and I'd like to ask you a couple follow-up questions.
Oh, did you spill some water? Okay.
May I, Your Honor?
Here's some napkins. Here you go. I'll take those for you. Is it all dry now?
It's okay.
Okay, all right.
Just take a moment. Are you okay? Thank you, Ms. Doe. Now, I want to ask you about this other man that you saw in the jacuzzi. Did you know when he got into the jacuzzi?
I didn't know when he got into the jacuzzi. All I saw is when he left the jacuzzi after he talked to me.
And when you say he talked to you, are you referring to the defendant?
The defendant asked me if the jets are off, how do we put them back? And this is when I just kind of wake up for what was happening to me.
When the defendant entered into the jacuzzi and sat right next to you and began to make that motion that you believed him to be masturbating, did you see anyone else in the jacuzzi with you?
All I saw is the man next to me. I didn't see anybody else. It's all myself. It was just concentrated on what I had next to me.
And before the defendant got into the jacuzzi and did those things, were you in the jacuzzi alone?
I was all alone in the jacuzzi and the whole area.
Now, just to clarify a couple things, when you talked to your husband on the day that this happened in the jacuzzi, you had previously talked to him about what happened on the second floor, is that right?
Yes, I talked to him the same day. I thought I would not share with anybody what happened to me, but when I was going home with my husband, I changed my mind. I could not hold it anymore, and I told him that how horrible thing happened to me, and I told him what happened on the second floor.
So then, Ms. Doe, the time that you told him after what Mr. Winslow did to you in the jacuzzi, did your husband say anything about Mr. Winslow while you were at the jacuzzi in the pool area?
No.
What did you and your husband decide to do after Mr. Winslow had now done something a second time?
And the pool, when I'm talking to him, I told, that's the guy from the second floor. He told me that had to be reported today. You're going to report it today. This guy doesn't belong in this gym or any other gym. That is all we care is to have him out of the gym, nothing more.
And did you attempt to report it that same day on February 22nd?
So we went, go get dressed. He told me, go get dressed, and we go to the manager. So that's what we did, got dressed, went outside looking for the manager, but he was just gone for the day that day.
Your Honor, may I have a moment to approach this, Madam Clerk?
Yes. All right, Mr. Owens, you just marked 168 and 169, correct?
I have, Your Honor, if I could just have a moment.
All right.
May I approach?
Yes, go ahead.
Ms. Doe, looking at this document for identification purposes is a computer screen printout from Crunch Fitness. Do you recognize the woman
That's me.
Okay.
And that's your photograph, correct?
That's my photograph.
I'm going to order the meeting not to publish this document.
Thank you, Your Honor. And then turning your attention to what's been marked and identified as Court's Exhibit 169. Do you see that there are a series of check-ins that are associated with the account and with dates and times?
Yes.
And looking at the dates and times, do you see that on February 25th of 2019 that you had checked in at 12:24 p.m.?
Yes.
And the time prior to the 25th would have been February 22nd, 2019, when you checked in at 12:05 p.m. Is that right?
That's right.
Is that consistent with your memory of when it was that this happened in the Jacuzzi on February 22nd?
Yes.
And then again, when you met with, when you actually spoke to a manager, did that take place on Monday, February 25th?
That's correct.
Now, when you talked to the manager, you mentioned on direct examination that you knew a male manager named Brad from your prior interactions.
Yes.
Is that right?
That is right.
You also spoke to a female assistant manager, is that
Right.
correct? When you spoke to the female assistant manager, did you tell her about the two separate incidents that had already happened?
Yes, I did.
And did you describe as best you could what it was that he did each time?
I did.
Now, do you remember whether or not you told them that he actually exposed his penis and showed you the bare skin of his penis?
I never told him that.
Do you remember the specific words you used when you were describing to them what he had done?
I just exactly what I said here, because I told them that he was touching.
Was your husband there with you when you were speaking to both Brad, the manager, and the female assistant manager?
Yeah, when I talked to the manager, but when they called the assistant manager, he was gone. He wasn't there.
And when you say he was gone, are you referring?
He went to work out at the gym.
And who are you referring to?
My husband.
Okay.
So I was alone reporting to the assistant manager.
All right, and that would be on Monday the 25th, is that right?
That's right.
Now, when you had initially reported this to police, do you remember them coming to your home on February 26th of 2019, the night after you reported this to the employees?
Could you come again, please?
Do you remember the date that the police came to your home and spoke to you about what had happened?
That was the same day that I reported. That was the Monday.
That's your best recollection?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you talked to the police, was there a female police officer from the Carlsbad Police Department?
That was, yes, it was a police officer, it was a sheriff detective that is sitting right there.
And you're pointing now in the direction of Detective John Johnson, who came to your home that night?
Yes,
Was that the first time that you had ever met Detective Johnson?
the first time that I met the two of them who came, and when I opened the door, he told me, "Do you know why we're here?" Because he probably saw my face. I didn't expect a police in my house.
Not responsive.
Overruled. The answer will stand.
Thank you, Your Honor. And when you were describing what had happened, did you in fact tell the officer from Carlsbad PD and Detective Johnson, as best you could, what you recalled specifically happening both the first and the second time?
Yes, they asked me if they can come in, so they came up inside my house, and she asked me to describe what happened, and I did.
Now, when you spoke to the female officer, did you tell him that Mr. Winslow had been using the machines next to you and he rubbed his erect penis over his pants in front of you?
Yes,
Did you tell her that he then stood in front of you when you were seated on a machine with his groin at your eye level and pointed at his erect penis?
It's improper rehabilitation. It hasn't been impeached.
Prior consistent statement, Your Honor.
It hasn't been impeached.
It has this as a recollection if you want to discuss it.
Well, we'll talk about it at sidebar, so we'll put sidebar on the record.